I'll link the lines together, then I'll measure round to see if it will give me 8, because half of 16 is 8. So that's it, we are doing 8. And hello, you're welcome. The front is actually 30 millimeters, but I'm going to be measuring 31 millimeters for allowance. So that's 31 millimeters that I'm measuring there. I've already cut it out. I cut it out previously. So the back, for the back, you have to place the front part on the back. Just as I'm doing right now. You place the front on the back, and then you add extra 4 millimeters. Because of sewing allowance, I'll be adding 5 millimeters. So that's the 5 millimeters that I'm adding there. You add it and you make sure that you measure from both sides so that it should be equal. Cut it out. Now for the shoulder depth, I'm going to be going down by 2.5 millimeters. From that edge, you draw a straight line to the neckline. Then from there you carry it and you go with it down. Make it to align with the downer part, the back part. Then you'll be folding the front by 0.5 millimeters. So make the front to just lie on the back, to just lie on the front by 0.5 millimeters. Okay, that's well done. I'm measuring to just make sure that it's actually 0.5 so that it should be even. So I had to iron it out so that it should stay in place. So the shoulder is 18 millimeters, which is 9. So I'm measuring out 9.5. That is the sewing allowance. Then the easiest way to make the armhole, you measure the shoulder divided by 2, which is 9, 18 divided by 2, which is 9, then plus sewing allowance, which is 0.5. So that's why I'm measuring 9.5. So mark that point out, then you link it to the end of the material. Then you link the 2 points together, and then you draw a straight line to the end of the material. Length of the dress, that means to the waist level, is 17. So I've measured out the 17. You just make it and then you draw a straight line across, because I don't want the dress to just be straight. I want it to curve a bit, so that's why I'm actually adding that half length to it. So the chest is actually 34, but because of ease allowance, I've added 4 extra 4, which is 38. I just rounded it up to 40. Because I'm trying to leave allowance in the dress. So the waist is 9 millimeters. Allowance, hemming allowance 2 millimeters, allow 2 millimeters. Draw it out. So my split allowance distance I want to put is 7 millimeters. So I'm measuring out that right now. Measure it out, and so that's the distance for the split. So you take the chest measurement and you do the same for the butt measurement, that at the opening of that allowance. So 10.5 up and 10.5 down. So the best way to link the line, you can use a ruler, but the best way to link it is by hand, so that it should just be a curve. And the truth about this particular dress is that this particular curve, it doesn't really need allowance to be left inside the material. But for this particular dress, I'll be leaving allowance because the person might get bigger, fatter, so the person might put on weight. So I'll be leaving allowance, so it will not be too straight at the curve there. So this one is the sewing allowance that I've just added. Add yours. So now I'll be going in by 0.5 millimeters for the front, so I get the midpoint of the armhole. So I measure 0.5 millimeters and I go inwards. This is a male dress, so you don't need to go too much inside. If it were a female dress, I would actually go a bit deeper inside. So you link the points together. Okay, while cutting, you first of all cut the back. Cut the back first, the straight line. Don't cut the front first, cut the back. Yeah, you cut the back, then you cut the whole, the curve. Sorry, my curve is not too curvy. Then when you're cutting now, you can now cut the front. So I'll be cutting now the side of the dress. Okay, let's do the neckline. The neck is actually 16 millimeters, so I'll be measuring 2.5 at the top there, then I'll go down by 4 millimeters. Then I'm going to link the two lines together, then I will measure around to see if it will actually give me 8 millimeters. So if it doesn't give you 8 millimeters, you have to measure, you have to either increase or reduce it. So I'll link the lines together, then I'll measure around to see if it will give me 8, because half of 16 is 8. So that's it, we are doing 8 and I fall at exactly 8. That's nice. So but for the sewing allowance and things, so I'll have to add 0.5. So if you look very closely, you'll see that I've added another 0.5 millimeters round. So I'll be cutting around the 0.5 millimeters because of the band that I'll be putting on the neck. So you cut the front first. Is a bit too sharp, so let me just cut it to make it a bit straight. Let it not be too sharp up there. Okay, for the armhole, when you measure the length, it's actually 10.5 millimeters, that length. So removing the extra allowances, you subtract 1.5 millimeters from there, because you remember that we put 0.5 up at the shoulder and at the side there we added 1 millimeters for sewing. So when you are measuring the width of the arm length, you remove that 1.5 millimeters that we added, so we will have 9 millimeters. So that's what I'm drawing right now. So the width is 9 millimeters, which I've drawn. Then the length of the dress, the length of the arm is actually for 13 millimeters, so I'll be measuring 14 for sewing allowance. Extra 1 millimeter for sewing allowance. So there we have it. So for where my curve will come and end, I will actually measure out 6 millimeters, 6 from the length. So I draw my curve and I link it up to 6 millimeters. The arm width is okay. I've already measured the arm width, so I need to add some extra allowance. I'll be adding 2 millimeters at the edge there, so extra 2 millimeters for allowance. This particular dress, I want to leave extra material inside. If I were not leaving extra material inside, I'll just cut the actual size of the dress and sew it out. So that's the arm. So now I want to cut out the facing of the back. So I'll be measuring out 7.5 millimeters. I want it to go down by 7.5 millimeters. Very simple to do that one. You just measure it and cut it out. It depends on you how deep you want it to go. So I just want it to go down 7.5. Okay, we are done. So now let's go and sew this beautiful dress. Okay, I'll be starting with the front. So on the front, I want to put in the opening, the chest opening. So on both sides, I'm measuring 1 millimeter. So I have 2 millimeters actually from the front. So I want to measure out the band. Since it's 2 millimeters, you actually have to measure out 5 millimeters. 5 millimeters on the band. You cut it out, then you fold the sides by 1 millimeter in. Yeah, you fold the sides by 1 millimeter. That means half. Okay, just follow as I've done that one. Then you open it up and you make sure that it is actually straight. It's actually lying straight, so that when you are sewing it, you sew it straight line. You show a straight line on that part. I hope you have been enjoying the video so far. So please, you can just click on that subscribe button and subscribe to my channel. Please support me by subscribing. Okay, I've already sewn it, so let me join it together now to form the front flap. If your dimensions are exact, it will just fall in line just like mine. So I'll sew it round done. I've already sewn it, so now I want to join the back to the front. I equally have to join the facing at once, so that's what I want to do right now. Okay, done. This video, I do not want to bore you with the sewing, so I'm just doing the sewing at once and showing you the results. So this is how it looks. So right now I'll be sewing the facing to lie down on the dress, and then I'll do the neck. Okay, for the neck, the way you have to cut your material, this way cannot go. That means for the length, the width and the length, that means this 4 square size cannot go. It's diagonal, so you have to cut it at the side diagonally, because diagonally the material it stretches. So that is the best material to use to sew the neck. So I've already done that. That's how it looks. You see how it lies on the dress. It's not standing out, it's actually lying down, and I've equally sewn the inside. So now let's put the arms. Remember that I had marked the arm, so now I'll be marking the the shoulder where the arm has to enter. I'll be marking it out so that I can link the 2 points together, marking both sides. So now I'll be taking the arm and linking it to the points that I have made, so they should be exact. Voila! So I've just finished sewing it. So this is how it looks, both sides. Okay, let me put the pocket. So for the pocket, I'll have to go and iron. So I've ironed it and it looks like that. So sorry for the sunlight. I actually filmed these things at different hours of the day, so the sun came out and everything is just shining all over the place. So but I've already put in the pocket. You saw how I ironed it. I ironed it to come out in that form. So now I'll be joining the sides of the dress and then This is how it looks. Let me put in the buttons. Okay, done. So our dress is done. Beautiful. This is how to sew this particular dress. If you look at the sides of the dress, you see that it's twisting a bit just because I allowed allowance inside, but if you cut it off, it's okay. Thank you very much for watching.